What's up, guys? So Bitcoin did exactly what we said was going to happen in my last video. So Bitcoin basically had a beautiful reversal to the means, to the green line right here, which was expected precisely on time when everyone was turning bearish and the fear and greed was at 25. This is why I love using mechanical trading strategies with high win rates. So hopefully you guys are learning a thing or two. So right now Bitcoin is trading at around 64K. It is now above the psychological level of 60K I talked about, which is very important. That is where there was the most buying, especially from ATF holders. So definitely a key level to keep an eye on. So we are now seeing some resistance at the first standard deviation level of the upper range. If we are seeing the formation of a Wyckoff accumulation pattern, that would mean that Bitcoin should be able to break that first standard deviation and obviously go higher to the second standard deviation here, and then hopefully we'll be able to break out of this range. Looking at the Bitcoin dominance compared to the money supply, we had a beautiful bounce right here, right on support, a very important level when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance compared to how much liquidity there is in the system. So obviously right now, if we zoom a little bit more in, we should hopefully go back up right here to this yellow line. As you guys can see, has been acting as a very strong resistance. We topped multiple times at that level. It's a key level. So once we break that level, that's when it's going to get really fun. It's a very big range to the upside once we break that resistance. This will be the parabolic rally we've all been waiting for. And that's how Bitcoin will easily surpass 100K, which I know a lot of people are using it as their target. Using projections, we should minimum go into this range, would bring Bitcoin to $140,000, $150,000 per coin. Obviously, it doesn't mean we can't have another correction, right? It's not going to be just a straight line up until we break those key levels I just showed you. And then that's really when liquidity is going to be pouring in the markets and in the system, in the economy. And that's really when you're going to see some fireworks for Bitcoin, in my humble opinion. And obviously, guys, we're still waiting for the MACD on the weekly to cross to the bullish side, right? So we did have a very nice bounce in the price action, which we talked about why we should have had that bounce, and it happened. But it doesn't mean we can't have another drawdown right after. It could be a dead cat bounce. So until the momentum on the weekly time frame shifts, I would caution to be too bullish, and I would be very patient with Bitcoin. I still have my very high targets, right? So I'm still very bullish, but right now the technical is not 100% aligned to go to the upside yet. Going back to the technicals, we are also now back to this very important moving average, which is the buy cycle. It's very important because a lot of market participants are looking at it. So if we do get rejected here, which is kind of looking like we might be getting rejected by the pi cycle with the first standard deviation of the upper levels, we could technically have a small reversal right here to the means, and hopefully we hold this level. But if we do not, and we get a clear rejection from this moving average, that could be very dangerous and could create another sell-off. So it's going to be important to just keep an eye on the pi cycle top indicator and the moving averages. And as you guys can see, we really need to reclaim it, because usually when we're in a bull market, we always reclaim it and use it as support. So if we use it as resistance this time, that could imply that the sell-off is not over yet before we really have that parabolic rally. It's a scenario you just want to be aware of so you can plan accordingly. And if that happens, in my humble opinion, it will still be a buying opportunity, so don't be too scared. Alright, so the last segment of this video, probably not even there anymore, but it's actually really important because it's not all good news right now in the market. We are seeing some negative signs in the stock market that could affect the crypto markets. At the moment, looking at sector rotation, which is very important, so we can see what institutions are doing with billions of dollars of capital. We can clearly see that institutions right now are rotating out of semiconductors, communication, technology, and are rebalancing into consumer right now, finance, right? That's why we see the nice little uptick right here, and industrials and builders, guys, which is very interesting. So at the moment, I'm not seeing a big sell-off. Basically, this is very normal behavior for institutions. So basically, they're just selling their winners, they're taking profit, and they're rebalancing the money into the ones that have least performed compared to the S&P 500, trying to add more alpha to their funds for their clients. So at the moment, there's nothing too concerning. If this continues, and you can clearly see that the money is just being rotating into the stock market but is not leaving, that's okay, and it will most likely be a buying opportunity for the tech sector, communication, and semis. But if we do start seeing the other sectors, and obviously I'm not showing you all the sectors, there's 12 sectors, but I don't have enough space on my chart, and it's pretty messy, so I'll just keep those are the big ones anyways. But my point is, if we see these go down also with the more aggressive sectors that have been performing extremely well for this market, then that could potentially mean a broader sell-off that could be bad news and could end up spilling into Bitcoin. Like I said, it will be a buying opportunity, so don't panic. But there's also other bad signs as well that I want to show you guys. So right here, guys, this is actually really important. So this is a signal that basically gets triggered when volatility is about to come back in the market one way or the other. So as you guys can see, every time this has happened and we get these signals, let's just say you don't want to ignore them. And we just had one right here. But again, guys, it has happened here, and I called this in one of my last video months ago, and I ended up being right. We ended up having a nice correction, which we did buy the bottom. I didn't buy enough though, which sucked, but we did call that bottom on YouTube on this channel. But as you guys can see, it took like a month to be right. Okay, so this could take a month or two before it ended up being right, but usually this would basically mean that we should have a nice little correction, which in my humble opinion will be a buying opportunity, especially if we zoom in the key levels and we just kind of look at some standard deviation. We should maybe go back to this zone right here. It's not too bad. It's going to be a buying opportunity in my humble opinion for a nice bounce, approximately in this ballpark for the S&P 500. So because of this, going back to the sector ratios, I will have my eyes looking at what's going on with the flows and looking at where money is rotating, just making sure that it's actually rotating and not leaving the stock market, right? But in the same time, there's also so much money in market funds right now, it's not even funny. This is why I do believe every dip will be a dip buying opportunity until probably 2026, when we're gonna have some nice corrections as well afterwards that could be a little bit more severe. But for now, there's too much liquidity, guys, especially with the central banks lowering rates and politicians are about to bring even more liquidity in the system to get more votes. So there you go, guys. So I will have my eyes on these sectors and the VIX as well. So if the VIX goes in the levels of about 20, which is the first standard deviation of the VIX, that's a buying opportunity. Then it's 28 is the second standard deviation, right? So those are the two layers of probabilities that I will be looking at for the VIX. All right, that's it, guys. Not much to talk about. Just wanted to make a quick video. Hopefully you learned something or two, and take care. Have a blessed one.